I'm a Sonic fan, not the weirdly obsessive DeviantArt OC creating inflation fetish loving stereotypical kind, but I do like the games, and this one right here is a solid one. Miniature spoiler warning here. I'm going to talk about all the little details and different levels that I love, so if you don't want them spoiled, leave now. As I said, I'm a Sonic fan, but more for the later titles, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 being my true starting point. I'd played the classic Sonics before, here and there, but considering I was born the year Sonic 2 came out, I think it's fair that I picked up the series when I did. Still, being a fan doesn't blind me to the series' faults. Sonic Adventure 1's presentation is a joke, and Sonic Adventure 2's Find the Stuff levels is purely padding. Sonic Heroes gets repetitive and overstays its welcome, and Sonic Unleashed has the goddamn werehog. I know a lot of people are fans of the new boost style of gameplay for modern Sonic, but to me it feels like it's on rails most of the time. If I'm gonna play a game, I usually want to play it. Ever since Sonic tried to jump into 3D, it seems like elements have been added to just see what works and what direction the series should take. And now with the release of Sonic Mania, I think it's clear what direction it should have gone. Sonic Mania's development was interesting, with Sega bringing on board many people who had been making Sonic fan games for years. They started by remaking different Sonic games for cell phones and other devices before moving on to a new adventure. Thus, Sonic Mania was born, and is probably the reason the game has so much damn heart. These guys love classic Sonic and truly understand what made those early games so special. The decline of Sonic started right after Sonic 3. The Sega Genesis was on its way out, and the next big Sega console was right on the horizon, the Sega Saturn. The Saturn's development was an infamous one, with the console supposedly being designed as a powerful 2D console first and foremost. It was around this time that Sony would jump into the games market with the original PlayStation, and push the idea of 3D games being for adults and 2D games are for babies. They didn't specifically say that, but Sony notoriously pushed for 3D games on the original PlayStation. And with this news of the upcoming 3D powerhouse, the PlayStation, Sega decided to boost the 3D capabilities of its own upcoming Saturn, with mixed results.
Playthings Maker has no such history. Sega Saturn gives you arcade graphics and gameplay that could only come from the power of 3 processors.
Point is, the games industry was moving into the 3D era. Classic 2D games like Super Mario and new platformers like Crash Bandicoot were all in 3D. Of course, Sonic should do the same thing, right? 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 Well, as it would turn out, the Sega Saturn never had a mainline Sonic game. Sure, it had Sonic racing games and spin-offs, but never something you could call Sonic 4. So why am I telling you all of this video game history? Well, I think it was this push for 3D games in the late 90s that led Sonic down the wrong road, and moved the main games in the series from solid 2D adventures to experimental 3D games for the next decade. So Sonic Mania, made 20 years later, feels like the true missing link in the Sonic series. The mainline Sonic game the Saturn never got.
There are lots of good reasons to go with Sega Saturn instead of Pretendo. We call them games. Sega Saturn has tons of them. Pretendo has just a few.
It reminds me of the Mega Man games from that time. While the series did try to jump into 3D with games like Mega Man Legends, the mainline series of Mega Man stayed 2D for some time. Same with Castlevania Symphony of the Night. They only added small elements to enhance the games from their previous gen incarnations. And it's really amazing how much Sonic Mania feels like this kind of jump. I'm not the first person to point this out, but it feels like every addition to the Sonic formula in Sonic Mania is a natural progression of the games before. Sonic 1 was a good, solid start, but simple and had room to grow. Sonic 2 added the spin dash to keep the game flowing and made Sonic 1 feel slow by comparison. Sonic 3 added this little jump attack thing that didn't really matter, but it also added elemental shields, adding some strategy to pickups. And it connected level acts with mid-act boss fights, making it feel like a true adventure. So with each new game, something was added, building on the formula of Sonic. And here in Sonic Mania, that trend continues with the drop dash. If you jump and then press and hold the jump button again, Sonic will roll up and get a small boost when he hits the ground. Possibly inspired by this little scene from Sonic CD? But it is such an intuitive addition to the game that it's shocking it was never thought of before. Going back to the old Sonic games for this video, I found myself missing the drop dash and the flow it brings to Sonic Mania. I keep bringing up flow, but I feel like that's one of the main reasons the classic Sonic is still remembered so fondly. It's perfect blend of speed and platforming for the most part. Sonic 1 was a bit slow for my taste, but Sonic 2 with the addition of the spin dash balanced it all out. The classic games never brought you to a complete halt. They had you go from platforming challenges to speedy segments in a pretty balanced way. Here, I'll put up a little meter to show you what I mean. Even games like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 had this gameplay style, but nowhere near as refined. It's this balance in classic Sonic that made the games feel tight and cohesive, unlike modern games that go crazy fast with speed to stopping dead in your tracks to jump a few times and get back to the fast part. Anyways, Sonic rant aside, Sonic Mania takes the classic feeling of Sonic and elevates it, and also does the same for past levels. I've heard people complain about the game's overuse of reused level themes like Green Hill and Chemical Plant, and while I do wish there were a few more original levels, these remakes aren't exactly the same. Act 1 of reused levels starts out pretty similar with a few additions here and there, but then Act 2 usually changes things up and taps into some unused potential these level themes had. Chemical Plant adds the ability to pick a direction when you go into the tubes to explore different routes, and its mid-act boss fight uses the water below with this bending, transparent effect that wouldn't have been possible on the Genesis, but looks just like something a Saturn game could have added. So then Act 2 features that bending goo effect pretty heavily, allowing you to bounce on it and change its color to get more height. They also have these little purple moving platforms that Sonic can stick to. These are small additions to the Chemical Plant theme, but as I said, it elevates the old level design instead of rehashing it. You can see these little elements all over the game, making it feel like a kind of 1994 next-gen experience. Things like transparent layers Sonic goes behind, sprite rotation and scaling, along with a much higher sprite count on screen, and the animation of these sprites is top-notch, sometimes looking like something out of Metal Slug. And hey, at that time, that would have been a selling point. Bring arcade visuals to your living room. Oh my god, look at Eggman. Look at him press that button. Look at all those frames! More elements are physics-based, like the bendy goo and pulleys on Press Garden, and these ball things in Studiopolis. Elemental shields are given more to do this time, allowing you to walk on ceilings and crush boxes, and they can also affect the environment by burning bridges and setting levels like Oil Ocean ablaze. 3D elements are used sparingly in certain levels to enhance the visuals, but not completely take it over, like it should be. Little signs spin around when you jump past them, bosses come right at you in the desert, these piano keys get pressed down and go... And the boss fight against Metal Sonic has this Egg Fortress thing in the background. These small additions remind me of the Nintendo DS Sonic games that started to play with 3D elements even though the game overall was 2D. And come on, look at this bonus stage. Yes, they reused the Sonic 3 bonus stage with the balls, you gotta collect them, but that's just to unlock extra stuff. The real bonus stage to get the Chaos Emeralds is straight up a Sega Saturn game. Just look at it, I love the self-aware nature of its visuals. They had to program in that draw distance. Now, Sonic Mania isn't perfect. Water levels are still a slog to get through, and I swear some hitboxes are off when I get crushed by fucking nothing, but it's a pretty solid game and a great follow-up to Sonic 3 and Knuckles from all the way back in 1994. And if Sonic Mania was made back then, sure, there wouldn't have been as much fan service, but there's been a 23-year gap. I think it's justified. It's not perfect, it's pretty solid, but the biggest thing is it has so much heart. With a game like Sonic 4, you can see the boardroom saying, let's make a new 2D Sonic game. People will buy it. But with Sonic Mania, you can see the developers saying, let's make a new 2D Sonic game. People will love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry about a lack of video over the last couple weeks. I have been moving. I'm finally on my own. Anthony, all grown up. Look at me. I'm an adult. But that's why I was moving and getting everything set up. But now I have several scripts kind of written. I've been writing them. I wanted to get this one out because Sonic Mania came out and I just love the game. It's really good and I just like it. But I also have a video about Nier coming out very soon and a video about some of my favorite childhood games. So make sure you subscribe if you guys want to watch that. I just did that like it was a threat. Subscribe. Yeah, I'm just kidding. No, thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that like button to support the show and subscribe to the channel if you're not. And if you want to go above and beyond, consider supporting me on Patreon. That being said, let's give a special thanks to everyone who donated over $5. A special thanks to Xavier Charlotte, They Call Me Pepper, Curtis Wilson, Deep Tech, Luke A. Water, Jay Bodane, Carl Skies, Drew Iterator Rick, Julio Juarez, Darian A. Mann, Eric G, Griggs TTV, Anthony's mother, I love you so much smooches, seriously, TJ Grum, Omar Diaz, Riley Davidson, Mad Bra Doll, Paul Witowski, I Am $2, Ryan O'Connell, Shadow Cloud, and Frederick Moeller. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next video.